I'm Amanda from Life Unravelled, and today we're going to unravel life's little mysteries. We're looking at discipline and the 4-year-old. In part 1, we've looked at discipline options, distraction and diversion, counting it out, time out, positive feedback, and we're going to continue on with this information, and then we're going to talk about prevention is better than cure. Time out. 4 minutes for a 4-year-old. If you are going to use time out, make sure that you keep it to a set time. Put the timer on, the timer then goes, and then ignore the situation. Don't go back over it. They've done their time. It's over. Move on. It's really important that you do move on. It also means time out gives the opportunity for the child to become calmer, for you to become calmer, and then you can talk about what went wrong. What did they do wrong and why we have the rules? And these rules are often for health reasons, for safety reasons, for living together reasons, for being part of a team. When I talk about distraction and diversion, I've got to say, this age group, it doesn't always work. It's mostly for 2 and 3-year-olds. 4-year-olds, it sometimes works. But more importantly, sometimes they just need space. So it could be that if they're doing something naughty or they're starting to have a tantrum, you can say, go have a swing. Go have a swing. Or, oh, well, what was that Lego thing you were doing? Do you want to come and play with me? But more importantly, they may just need that time to process what's in their head. Go read a book. Don't, under any circumstances, don't give them an iPad or put the TV on for distraction and diversion. Because sometimes, and I know it happens with my kids, I did a bit of a test when they were little, when they watch the television or they're playing on their iPads, they actually can get very angry, and it heightens that anger and that anxiousness. So make sure that when you're doing diversion and distraction, it is not an iPad, but it's something physical that they do. Counting works for so many reasons, but the most important thing is that it gives the child time to do the right thing. I can remember my daughter was 18, and she'll probably kill me for saying this, but she was 18 and she was just annoying her sister like you would not believe, and it was about to blow up big time, and her sister's like 16, so but it was about to blow up big time, and I said, Danica, go to your room. And she kept on annoying her sister. I went 5, 4. She goes, don't do it. 3, Mummy, don't do it, don't do it. Okay, I have to go. And she was so upset that I had trained her that when I counted down, that she needed to do what I said. Now, what was really interesting is that my daughter had no currency when she was 4. There was nothing I could do to entice her to do the right thing. But I can remember a psychologist said to me, just do the counting every single time and eventually it will work. And I'm thinking, oh, I don't know, is it worth it? Anyway, I did it because I had nothing else to go to. And I counted down each time, and sometimes she would do it and other times she wouldn't. And when she wouldn't, she'd then get put in her room for 4 minutes, and she'd stay in there for 4 minutes in time out, and then she'd come out and we'd keep going. And this was a routine that we went, but that routine actually worked, and I think it's because it was a routine that she knew by the time she got to 1 that she would be taken away from the situation and put in her room or in a corner, or somewhere away in the car, somewhere away from everyone. And even if I was out, I'd put her in the car and I'd sit in the car with her, but I wouldn't talk to her, I wouldn't engage with her, I'd just make her stay there. And that way, she knew that this was a discipline. And that's probably a really good hint, is that sometimes when you have no currency, it's just the routine of the discipline which really helps. Now, positive discipline is the way to go. Positive discipline just means praising them for the things that they're doing right and ignoring what they're doing wrong. The only time you don't ignore it is if it's a a safety risk. So for instance, if they want to run across the road, you don't ignore that. But if they're chucking a tantrum on the floor and screaming and yelling, you do ignore that. So does that make sense? We're looking at happier kids when we promote the positive. They intrinsically want to do the right thing by you. They want to make you happy. So let's use that. Encourage them and praise them for things that they do well. Don't praise them when, for instance, if you've got a child who's pulling themselves up on the table, you go, oh, yay, well done, yes, and then they want to do it again and you praise them again and tell them that it's fantastic. But if you have a 4-year-old that pulls themselves up on a table, do you praise them? No, because it's a skill that they've already learnt. So make sure that when you're praising a child, that you praise them for skills that are new or for things that they've really accomplished. That way you build their self-esteem. If you praise them for everything that they do, they won't be able to distinguish the difference between praise and just normal talk. And it doesn't build their self-esteem. It can actually affect their self-esteem in the negative, they're saying now. So it's important that you praise them only for the things that they deserve praise for, and they really know what that is. When we're talking about discipline, prevention is much better than the cure. And how can we prevent these bad behaviours really that we're looking at in our children? Well, there are so many things that we can do in our family, and it's really quite simple. Spending time, as we were talking about before, as a family, as a cohesive group, really helps with the prevention of bad behaviour. Now, we've spoken about all these things before. We've spoken about how if you find something important, they will try and respond to that and provide that with you. So if you find that you want them to be well behaved, like not run around anywhere when they're out, then as long as you impart that information to them, then the likelihood is that they will want to do that for you. But at home, they're allowed to run around and run right. I can remember when my kids were little, I went to my mother's and she had all these beautiful ornate figurines all the way around the house, and they were within touching of my children. And I kept saying to Mum, look, can we put them up? Please, can we put them up? So then I don't have to worry about the kids. And she said, no, the kids have to learn. And lo and behold, we never had an incident with any of the figurines. We had to tell them no from the very beginning, that they weren't allowed to touch them. But every time we went over to her house, they never ever touched any of the figurines. So it is important for you to realise that what you find important, the children will respond to. Common experiences really build relationships. So the more you do with your children, then the more likely it is that they will want to do the right thing by you. Things like going to the park together, going to the zoo together, going on holidays. Now sometimes it's really difficult to find things that you can do in common. One of the things that I found, especially when I was working, was that I was able to take the kids out on a Sunday afternoon, and we always went out for a coffee every Saturday afternoon. And it got to the stage that if we didn't go out for the coffee, then the kids thought that there was something wrong. And that way what we did was we communicated, we enjoyed each other's company, and we had that common experience that we were able to build upon. While we were sitting there, oh, do you remember last week such and such happened? And so you could actually go through and talk about things that you'd done together in the past. Eating together every week not only is important for children to learn their socialisation skills with you and whoever else is sitting down to eat, it also teaches them how to eat and behave at a restaurant and what is expected at a restaurant. So you can take them out and do really nice things, go on holidays and enjoy that time together. But not only does it do that, it also builds the community of your family. Preparing meals together can also help with discipline. Now you think, oh, how does that work? How does it work? But again, it's that sense of community that the kids get, that accomplishment that they feel that they've helped produce this meal and that everyone has participated in eating it. So therefore they are valued as people. And it's them feeling valued that really helps them to distinguish in their head between the good and the bad, between being able to do the right thing or doing the wrong thing, making good decisions and making bad decisions. Thanks for listening to part 2 of Discipline. We've got one more part to go with lots of information on responsibilities in chores and talking about power play and why we have rules. So look forward to seeing you then. Bye. This video was produced by Imagination Pty Ltd for Life Unravelled. All advice and information given during this course is designed for general use only. If you have any concerns for your child, please seek professional advice as soon as possible. For terms and conditions, please see website www.lifeunravelled.com.au.